So we are joining you, the amazing.
I can't hear it. It's cutting out. I'm going to exit out and log back in.
Sarah, do you hear me?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I'm going to log back in.
We're going to be more. See if we can let Sarah take it away, since my audio and visual is a little fuzzy right now. There she is.
Okay, there we go. We've got connection now. I think. Hopefully. I don't know if this is going through or not. I just hear a bunch of static.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I got you finally. Yay! Awesome. I don't know if you're there or not. I don't know. It keeps coming in and out. So, am I sideways? I look like I'm sideways.
You're sideways.
I don't know why. Is that better?
There she is.
Does that work now? All right.
That
No.
definitely looks better because you're not sideways. It's going to come back in here. So let's go ahead and dive in this amazing box of the new items that are in the Sariditty Creative Collection box, including new fabric, new tools, and embroidery collection. An amazing pattern for you that is takes you through how to create a little greater detail on this camera right here. Let's see. So that's the pattern that's included. And
I have zero sound anymore, and it says my sound is working. I don't know if anyone can see or hear me. I can see and hear nobody. According to the screen, y'all, everyone can see and hear me. So I'm just going to talk. And if you can hear me, great. And if you can see things, fabulous. If not, we'll have to do this again because I have no idea what's going on. This was working before we all started, but here we go. So we're doing the second creative collection box, the Sariditty creative collection box that I've jammed it full of more goodies again this month. And well, there's so many things. Okay. If you were part of our first creative collection box for the first quarter, you got the double dip cutting templates. The double dip pattern is in my book, Rainbow Quilt Color Method. And those templates also work with a pattern that's not in the book called Posy Patch. So in your creative box, you were able to get a unique pattern to use the 3 fat quarters or any fabric of your own to make your own little flower blossom. Well, I've made yet another one, and I just want you to see it. And if you weren't part of last month's or the last quarter's creative collection box, you can always get the cutting templates from Sew Steady. So here's another one. And it's more of my fabrics mixed together. But you're going to see then in the second quarter, this box that's coming up, there is a pre-printed panel that kind of emulates that, but it's like using your double dip or your Posy Patch cutting templates and essentially making, here's a quadrant here. That would be 4 blocks. And then this would be another 4 blocks using those cutting templates. So you've got a mini quilt already printed out for you. And we're going to, as I'm throwing things around here. And part of the reason for that is I wanted to dive more into circular quilting. So we have, and I'm going to have to just angle the camera down now so you can see it really well. The second quarter box, we're going to debut the big boomerang ruler set. So let's see here. How about we go right here? Okay, there we go. So this is the big boomerang ruler set. It's 3 rulers, and of course you can do long arm thickness, high shank thickness, or low shank thickness. But it's 3 different templates that give you 5 circle shapes. So this guy, if you go on the outside of it, is a 3.5 inch circle. This one is the 6-inch circle out here, but a 2.5 inch circle here. I finally hear noise and feedback. Maybe someone can hear me. And then the biggest circle, this is a 9-inch circle or 9-inch diameter, and then the inside would be 5-inch. And part of that box, then there's a page on it that will show you how to use these rulers and how to read them. So basically, and I'm going to show you, there are 2 sets of left and right lines. So these are your halfway, your diameter marks for the big circle, the ones that are on the outside. So hopefully you can see that. The 2 big lines that touch the outside of the ruler, these are your diameter marks for the outside of the circle. And then your left and right diameter marks that are touching the inside arc, that's your diameter for the inside circle. So in order to do a circle, you're going to quilt from one end to the other, stop with the needle down, and you'll reposition yourself to finish your circle. So that's how that's going to work. And I'm going to show you that actually. And part of the box too, do you see my fun little glitter grippers on here? These are the blossom, the cherry blossom technically, but these are the blossom glitter grippers. So we figured it'd be fun to do cherry blossom grippers instead of the dots this time. Or did we do butterflies last time? I don't remember. We have all 3. But I decided it'd be more fun to do the flower blossoms since we're working with a blossom fat quarter panel printed for you.
We did do the butterflies last time.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yes.
So yay, I can hear you finally.
I know. I had
have
to
no
change
clue.
computers. My computer was awful, so I apologize, but I am here and I've got the box ready to show off whenever we're ready.
Awesome. And I've just been talking, so who knows if anyone's heard me or not.
Oh yeah, they hear you. You've been coming in great. This is all me. I am the problem.
Okay, y'all. So let me keep going. So glitter grippers, for me, I like having them for two reasons. One, they add, okay, let me turn it upside down. So this is the totally slick part of the ruler. If it's just the slick ruler, it slides really easily on the fabric. With the glitter grippers, they're not like sticky or tacky, but they're almost sort of like how an emery board feels. There's just enough like little bit of grip that with light pressure, you can still move it over your fabric, but when you push it down, it is going to grip a little bit better. So see how it's moving the fabric instead of like sliding over the fabric. I also like that they're pink and sparkly, A, because why not? But B, I know you are like me and you end up here. We're going to do this. Okay, ready? We can judge me. I know y'all end up looking like that in your sewing areas, right? Just say you do and make me feel better. But I like having them sparkly and pink so that way when I set them down, inevitably I can't find them. So if I turn a light on or something, the light will hit the sparkle and it does help me find them quicker than if it was just the acrylic sitting somewhere in a stack. I still use additional aid a lot of the time when I'm using rulers in addition to the glitter grippers. So this is not to discount anything else or to take the place of anything else. It's just added grip and then added visual sparkle and a color. So I'm going to add a couple more to this ruler so you can see them. We're going to get a pack of 30, I believe. And there are butterflies like we had last time. And then there are also little dots. In fact, I see one of my rulers here with the dots on it. So here you go. You can see the linear channel ruler here with the dots on it right there. Alrighty. So when you have your glitter grippers, one side's going to feel really, really slick and smooth. That's actually the backing, like the sticky backing. And then the other part's going to feel sort of like an emery board. And so the emery board side, I just take my skin of my finger and I pull down on one of the petals and it's going to peel one of those. I'm trying to do this sideways so y'all can kind of see too. It's just going to peel that sticker off. So you just peel it off. And I like to have at least 3 of these on my rulers and sometimes more. So on this little guy, I only put 2 because it's fine. They're not in the way. I suppose I could add a third. Maybe I will. Then the big one, I put 5 on there. So that way there's some grip dispersed all throughout. And this guy, we're going to put 1 more on here. So find the sort of emery board feeling, sort of almost like sand in your shoe, that sort of feeling. All right. And they're on now. So that said, all of my rulers, all the Sariditty rulers will always be legible. Something will be legible to know that you have them right side up. And so I'm on my Bernina Q, my sit down machine. And so it's technically a 1/4 inch, like it's a long arm. This classifies as a long arm. But a lot of domestic machines also can use long arm thickness rulers. Here's why I'm stressing the importance of how it's printed in the right side of the ruler. The higher away, okay, let's start this way. The registration lines, those markings, the grooves that you see, those are on the bottom of the ruler. That's what should always touch the fabric when using my rulers. And in all honesty, I would say anybody's rulers, because that way those markings are going to be right on your fabric rather than, like I said, this is a 1/4 inch thick ruler. If I have it upside down, those registration lines are now a 1/4 inch above my fabric. So you can imagine how difficult and even off I could be if I'm trying to use a seam line or something to line up my registration line with. It's called parallax. So there's, like when you put on somebody's glasses with bifocals or trifocals and they don't fit you and you feel like you're kind of walking on the moon or something. So you always want to make sure that the registration lines are touching the fabric, and that way everything will always line up as best as possible. And I hope that makes sense from a video aspect. Okay, so all of my glitter grippers are on the bottom side, the grooved etch side of the rulers. Alrighty, so there, we've done the glitter grippers. And while we're at it, I grabbed this, and we talked about the posy patch being in the first quarter. So, or the double dip, but double dip and posy patch are the same template. So here is this box. You get a sticker of the posy patch quilt pattern. If you're interested in it, just get a hold of me. I'm happy to facilitate that for you. But this is the sticker then that has those double dip templates on it. And it is dishwasher safe, y'all. So you can put it on your Yetis and your Stanleys and all that good stuff. Okay, what else is in the box? We've got 3 more of Sariditty fat quarters. So here are your 3 fat quarters. They're from my Legendary Love collection for Moda Fabrics. This released, maybe a month and a half ago or so. And they're just fun. They're springy. They're cute. They do blend and coordinate with the Q1 box fabrics. So if you were in Q1 and you haven't used those fabrics yet, I'm going to do my best to make sure everything always sort of coordinates and carries over to the best of my ability. So these will go with that first box fabrics. And I have them here. We're just going to toss those over. Let's set these here. Okay, what else have we got? We've got the Tutti Frutti cutting template set. So again, these are just cutting templates. And Tutti Frutti is one of the patterns in my book. So yes, you've now heard me talk about my book twice. Obviously, I want you to have the book. But that said, there's 15 quilt patterns in it. And they're very, very doable. And some of them are so simple. So this actual quilt, and I'll show you it. I have it draped on my chair behind me. This actual quilt is 2 layer cakes, Tutti Frutti cutting templates to make your life easier. And that's it. And there's even enough scrap of the layer cakes to make yourself a scrappy binding. So let me show you that finished quilt really quickly.
And I just posted a link. Yeah, I just posted a link to the book. But that is definitely one that you will absolutely love.
Let me grab this. Woo! It's colorful. I mean, you don't have to do rainbow, y'all. I get that the book is called Rainbow Quilt Color Method, but you can do it in vintage floral. You can do it in monotone or two-tone. You can do just all different shades of, or different like florals, vintage, anything you want to do. So this is Tutti Frutti. And then you can see how we did the scrappy binding because we had just enough left over from the layer cakes to put together a fun scrappy binding that goes together really cute.
I love that.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that's so great. Okay, so Sarah, before you start quilting, you are currently in vertical mode. Is there any way that I can go through and show the box? Oh, there you go. And voila, no longer vertical. Perfect.
Fantastic.
Yay. Okay.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and show the box and then I can show?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Feel free.
So
go for it.
Here we go. This is the gorgeous box that Sarah designed. And so here's the content. So Sarah was kind of showing the little elements, but now you get to see everything, guys. So of course she said that she does have this pattern that's included. So this is that Tutti Frutti pattern that's included with it. And she's got some amazing little design ideas that you can do with your, that come in the Boomerang Embroidery collection, which is included in the box. A little bit more a little bit more about the box and just kind of welcoming you to the Creative Collection box club. A little bit more about Sarah. And then we have a little bit of information about that book that we talked about, the Rainbow Quilt Color Method book, and those Tutti Frutti and some of those other quilts that she has included in the previous box. And then we showed off the fabric. Sarah already did that. Isn't that absolutely stunning? And the way you coordinate fabrics is just incredible, Sarah. So I think, just getting this box alone to just really start kind of, getting that, you could call it muscle memory of seeing what looks good for fabric
Yeah.
combinations,
Yeah.
like I think you do such a great job and being we call them color pickers around here, but you're an amazing color picker.
Better than a nose pick.
Right. Okay, so then this is that boomerang embroidery collection, which is amazing. And I will, if we have a chance, we should definitely show them some of those designs. We kind of showed them in that preview video. Hopefully
Yeah,
that
and I
came
have a
through
few
okay.
things here at Quilted I can show too.
Oh, perfect. And then we have that class kit, which I'll actually give takes you through finishing this practice panel that she's going to be working on. And the practice panel is included in this class kit. And then a bonus pattern. Sarah
That is
loves to
such
include
a
a bonus
yeah.
pattern.
Heirloom is so easy, y'all. And those fabrics on the cover, that was a limited edition run with that one. But this
Ah,
quilt is so fun to put together. And in all honesty, you could probably put it together in about a week.
oh, no way. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Okay, so then we have these awesome cherry blossom. I know Sarah was showing those off a little bit ago. The cherry blossom, you can go ahead and stick those anywhere you need them to give you that extra gripping on the templates. This is that Tutti Frutti cutting set, and that's a two-piece cutting set to be able to create that quilt. And then look how big this boomerang template set is. I think this gives you some perspective. It fills the bottom of the box, guys.
Yeah, it's chonky.
Uh, but that's giving you huge circle options, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the sticker. So
Yeah.
that is everything in the box. This is why you would absolutely love it. The box, we just posted a link to if you want to join the club that it's $99 a quarter. You can cancel it anytime. So that's kind of the way to go because you can easily cancel it just right there on the website. But you can purchase the box separately. We should have that option here in the next day or so. So that is everything in the box. Sarah, I've now got you ready to show off the quilting, and you're live on the screen.
Fantastic. I just went and grabbed because I wanted you all to see big boomerang that comes in this box. Big boomerang, the largest circle is 9 inches. This is in addition to, if you want more circles and you really, really like this, and I'm going to put the video down so you can still see them. There's original boomerang, not big boomerang, but just boomerang. And so here are 2 of them. And then there's another one that fits around this. So with these, you're going to go anywhere from 1.5 inches up to 6.5 inches. I believe 5.5. It might be 4.5. So 5.5. So I think it's 1.5 to 5.5 is what we're ranging with the original boomerang set. And then when you see the big boomerang set, of course, the surround piece for this one is not right here with me for me to show you. But that said, you can see the difference then. So this is the second largest piece, that it's still smaller than the second largest piece in big boomerang. And so you're going big boy on this guy, which is really, really fun. In that it also is going to work well with your double dip cutting templates if you ended up making any sort of quilt with those. And then it's going to kind of help you along with ruler quilting on your panel. So, and I'm going to cough, sorry. In your creative collection box, I have included 2 how to quilt your panel suggestion cards. One is with your rulers, and then you can throw in free motion wherever you want. And then the other one is with the boomerang embroidery collection. And so they're all digital files. They will work on any of your long arms or embroidery machines. You just choose your file format that your machine uses, and you'll be able to do either or even a mix of the 2, which is fantastic. And I'll show you, I have my panel that I stitched out with the embroidery designs behind me. I will show you that as well. But let me show you how to use these rulers because I'm sure some of you are still going, diameter? What? Geometry was like 40 years ago. So let's talk about a little bit of some circle geometrics and how to use these. So first of all, first things first, I'm going to make sure I have my ruler foot on. So you always, 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 I know you know this, but you always want to make sure you have that safety ruler foot for doing any sort of ruler work. So that is on nice and tight. And I'm going to bring this in as close as I can. Hopefully y'all can see me decently. Let me know if you cannot, but I think we're okay. All right. So I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to draw a line on here. And is it a straight line? No. Are we going to say it's straight? We're just going to assume. All right, that's a semi-straight-ish line. But say this is my seam line on my fabric that I want to do a full circle around it, okay? And so I'm always going to get locked in place before I put the ruler up to my foot, because I always want to make sure that the ruler foot and the needle are in the most down position possible. Did I lock? There we did. Okay. All righty. So like I was saying with the glitter grippers, I use additional things with them, okay? So maybe that's machingers. Maybe that's, I don't know, other things. But I use my palm paddles. They have like a silicone grip to them. So here's what's awesome is if you're just using them on your fabric, and you can, again, get a hold of me if you have questions on these. I'm happy to help. I engrave them. That's why I love them. Plus, they're fun and pretty. But they move your fabric, and you still have full use of your hands. But also, the way this works, it like grabs your rulers for you. So when I'm using rulers, I'll go half on the ruler or a partial paddle on the ruler and then on the fabric. So that way it's really going to hold everything in place for me. That way that answers that question before everyone starts asking. All right. So I've got, and I hope you can see, here's my diameter line for the outside circle. So this is the 6-inch circle out here. So I'm going to take this left-hand diameter line and put it up to my ruler foot. And then I'm going to line up the other diameter on my seam line or whatever marking you have to know where you're going to make your full circle. So my goal now is to stitch around and make a half circle and stop in the needle down position over on this side. So I've got everything in place. Slow and steady, 3-point pressure, everything's guided. This is the caveat moment where I say, by the way, I'm technically a long arm quilter, so this is, I have to think extra hard when I use anything that sits down. But that said, if I can do it, you can do it. All right, I'm gonna stop and readjust. Stop and readjust, and I'm coming around to where I marked out here, where my diameter line comes around. And there are directions in your box for you to know how to do this, okay? So I've done half a circle perfectly. And now I've stopped in the needle down position on that diameter line. All I do then is I rotate the ruler, put the diameter line up against it, line this one up over here with where I started because that's going to lead me right back to where I ended. And the nice thing about being on a sit down is I can rotate my fabric too because it's easier for me to come this direction instead of underneath. So here we go, lined up, lined up. Now, something I should make a note of, but I'm sure some of you know this already, that anytime you are quilting with a ruler where there's an arc or a curve, I want you to picture a steering wheel. Anything at 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or 8 o'clock, you are going to have a tendency to want to fling into outer space. So what I mean is I can move up and down easily. So coming around this way is easy for me, but when I hit that 10 o'clock position, I'm going to have a tendency to want to fling way out here into outer space. So anytime you're at those diagonal points on the clock face, just be extra aware of pushing or pulling against your ruler edge. So that way you maintain that arc without any breaks in your lines. But there you can see, there is my full circle, completely quilted. It's perfect. And maybe here I want to throw in another circle on the inside of it, okay? So let's just come to the inside here. On the inside of this piece is a 2.5 inch circle. So this is where on the inside piece, I'm going to use the diameter lines that are down low that run into the inside circle. So I'm just going to place one of the lines against my foot and then line it up with my seam line or whatever that marking line is there. Got my palm paddles in place, pushing. I'm going to stop at that diameter line. My needle's in the down position. Rotate the ruler, line up. In fact, while I'm over here, let's trim my threads because they're just in the way. All right, place it down, line it up with my seam line or my reference line, whatever it is. And then I'm going to stop. So there you go. You can see how one ruler gives you two different circles right there. All right. So this is the 6 inch and then this is the 2.5 inch. And yes, it does say so on the ruler. So you know exactly what sizes those are. So same thing. I'm not going to be able to do it on here very well, but here we'll just do a quarter. All right. Here's the 9 inch right here. This whole guy out here is 9 inches, but I cannot fit 9 inches on here carefully without going way up here into the fray. So what if I just, right here, let's just go diagonal to diagonal. So my diagonal is pointed at my needle and then my diagonal is pointing at my line. Now remember, we quilt a 1/4 inch away from the ruler edge, right? Because of our foot. So if you have last time's box, the 1/4 box, you have the Sariditty spacer tool. If you don't have one of these yet, you have a code now in your 1/4 box to snag one at a discount. So I use my 1/4 inch little tooth when I'm using ruler work all the time, like all the time, because I'm going to place that tooth up against my ruler and make sure that the base of that tooth is lined up right on my seam line, my reference line. Okay. So now I know when I quilt a 1/4 of this circle, I'm exactly a 1/4 inch away where I want to end. So let's come this way. Ooh, and I just moved it. We're okay. We're okay. I'm going to stop at that. Right there. So it's lined up with my diagonal line and I landed right there on my seam. So it's perfect. And then let's just do the same thing coming back this way. So it's pointing at my needle and then my other diagonal line over here, I'm going to grab the 1/4 inch tooth, put it against the ruler and make sure the base of it is lined up with where I started because that means that's my 1/4 inch away spot, right? And here we go. Boom. So there you go. Ended right there. And now I see all sorts of fun things I can do here. I could do like an eye with an iris inside and yeah, lots of fun stuff. So hopefully that makes sense on how to use the rulers as far as making a full circle. You can do other things too. In fact, let me just quickly come over. We'll free motion ourselves around here. All right, we'll just come right over there. I want to show you quickly how to set up half circles. So any of y'all who like clamshells or that type of thing, and I'll just set that up quickly and then we will move over to the panel and have some fun. There we go. That's a little bit straighter and hopefully a little more visible too. All right. Okie dokie, y'all. Are you ready? Let's just grab the inside circle. So we'll grab the inside of the big boom set. So this is a 3.5 inch diameter when quilted. Okay. So you've got two diameters. In fact, you've got your north, south, east, west cross hatches on here. And then you have one set of diagonals to give you those 45 degrees if you need those for any sort of project. But I'm just going to line up that very center diagonal on my seam line. okay? And I am going to, there we go, quilt around, and I'm going to stop when I hit that seam. Stop, switch my ruler around to this side. Let's do it again. I'll do one more, and then I'm going to show you how you can turn that into a clamshell. And I'm getting really close to the edge over here, so we'll go as far as I can go safely. How's that? All right, so to set up my clamshells, I want to go now my half circles that touch here. So essentially I'm splitting the difference. So I need to go to the halfway point on each of these. And what you've got built in to your ruler is you have that reference line right there. So you can mark on your quilt, and I'm lining this up, and this way I know that's exactly my middle point. And the more you do this, you won't have to always mark your quilts, but when I'm getting going, or if I'm not familiar with a type of design, I'm going to go ahead and just mark my quilts, okay? So let me backtrack, still lined up on that seam line, that reference line that I started with. I'm going to backtrack and stop at the 12 o'clock position on this ruler. There we go. So that's at the 12 o'clock position. So now I'm going to line up my left and right diameter. I'm going to touch the foot, line it up so it's touching the top of that clamshell. Line up this next diameter line so it's touching the top of that clamshell. And we're going to come back around this way. I clearly did not give myself enough fabric here, space. Okay, we're going to stop when we touch the clamshell, and then bring it on over to this side, line it up, it's all lined up, it's perfect. We're going to come around. And we are there. So there you go. Now you can see how any of these shapes you can give yourself those perfect clamshells as well. Orange peels, circles within circles. The cool thing too is on all of my ruler packaging, I will always on the back side include a handful, like a good half dozen, if not more, a handful of ideas of different designs that you can do with your rulers, okay? And circles are kind of timeless. You can do all sorts of fun things with them. So before I keep going, will you tell me, do you want me to go ahead and keep going with the rulers on the panel, or do you want me to show you some of the boomerang embroidery designs that I've stitched out already? We'll see if Stacy's even there listening. And if not, we'll just jump in here and do it on our own. I'm going to drop that on the ground. So real fast, I am going to change my thread color. And that's what I also love about this machine. It is so fast to be able to get it threaded again. It does have an automatic threader, which is fantastic. All right, I'm going to throw yellow in because I'm going to work on the yellow part of my pre-printed panel. And I am loading up my thread. This is Wonderfill that I'm using right now. I believe it's, I just want to say it before. I don't want to say, yeah, it is confetti. So it's their 50 weight, their cotton. All right, so I grabbed the yellow. So these circles on your panel are just a hair smaller than a full 9 inches. Okay, so this quilt here, it will quilt yourself 9 inches. I'm going to stay away from my foot. So that said, it does fit. I hope you can see that. It fits inside of the yellow. And so I'm going to line up those diameter lines where my petals come together on both sides. So it fits inside of the yellow, but I can tell that I'm going to be just slightly outside that seam line when I quilt it. I did that on purpose on this panel so that way you can reach everything, namely out here to the sides, because a fat quarter being 18 inches, I wanted you to be able to reach out and kind of frame in anything that you're doing. So I see where I'm starting. I'm going to lower my presser foot. I just want to see where this is going to go. All right, so I see where I'm starting. Get myself locked in place. All right, I'm actually going to turn it around and go this direction. And I'm going to make sure all my stuff's out of the way before I start quilting over things, because that would not be good. All right, so again, I've got my left and right diameters up against the ruler foot. Line it up with where those petal seam lines are over on this side. I'm going to anchor down my ruler a little more. I'm in BSR 2. So you can see it's about 1/8 of an inch around. Whoops, I slipped. I'm going to go halfway, and I'm going to show you how. All right, so here's the halfway point. So I've gone halfway around, and see it's slightly outside of that circle printing design. That's done intentionally on this panel. If you're actually using the double dip templates, you will be able to quilt a perfect 9 inches and go seam to seam. Okay, same thing with the Posy Patch quilt. And also the Venturi effect quilt that's coming out in the next couple months. Just letting you know. I try to use cutting templates more than once. Or twice in this case. All right, so say you've pieced your quilt. Say you've pieced using your double dip templates and you're just not exactly perfect on your curves and your sizing. That's okay. You can always fudge and wiggle your templates to give you to where you're stitching in the ditch. So I'm going to move over in the ditch here. So I've got my needle right on that pink and yellow line. And so when I'm using the ruler and it's not exactly perfect, I'm just going to consider myself going very small movements. I'm staying in that ditch, and as soon as I see myself straying either inside into the yellow, which I am right now, or even out to the pink, you can kind of move and shift your ruler a little bit to keep you in that place where you want to be. So I'm still right on the line, starting to go a little bit outside of it, so I'm going to rotate. And so I can move this and hinge it, all right? And then my end goal is to end up as close to where I was over here. Now, granted, this one's about 1/8 of an inch outside of the line, but we're just going to come around on the line and then I'll join up, okay? But when you're doing it this way, with anything curved, all right, I'm starting to come in a little bit. So since I'm coming into the yellow, that means I need to rotate my ruler outward towards the pink just a little bit. There we go. Now I'm back over there. And then we're getting there. Oh, getting a little bit inside. So shift it out. Alrighty. So here you can see now where I just followed the ruler exactly where it was taking me, which is a slight outside scant 1/8 of an inch echo, or I just kept shifting and rotating the ruler as I went to make sure I always stayed in the ditch of my seam. And you can do that with all of your curved rulers and really even your straight rulers. You just have to keep moving. So this way it is doable and possible to stay right there in your ditch. So let's throw from here. Let's do a circle within a circle, and then we'll come over here and do another circle within that circle. So let's use this. Let's see here. Here's my diameter line here. And since I don't have a reference point inside here, what I'm going to do is grab a ruler, grab a straight edge, do something, and mark yourself. Let's see here. Actually, I can do it this way. So that's going to be straight edge across, straight edge across. Okay, so there's going to be my reference point. Alrighty, so I've got it lined up. I've got it lined up right here. I'm going to do a full circle following the template. Remember, you don't want to fly off into outer space, so that 2 o'clock position and now the 10 o'clock position, just make sure you're still pushing against the ruler edge. stop, needle down, rotate, diameter, diameter, back to the start spot. And let's come around another half circle because I want to end up right here. All right, so we're just going to go back and just do like 1.5 circles essentially to get ourselves back over here. You could also stop and tie off, but I don't want to. Stop right there. Fantastic. So see, I just stitched right on top of myself there, that 1/2. And then we're going to grab this guy. So my inside diameter lines, the ones that touch the small circle, I'm going to line them up. And again, I've got to mark my straight edge. So that way I've got a reference point. There we go. Alrighty. Against my foot, along my reference point, and now we're going to quilt the 2.5 inch circle. Stop on that line, rotate the ruler, line it up, line it up. And there we go. So this way, I did a circle with a circle with a circle, and you could start doing all sorts of more circles inside of here. Now, this is not the halfway point. This is a 9-inch circle, and so we did not do a 4.5 inch, but you could on the original boomerang ruler. So just as an FYI, this was the 5.5. So if you have the original boomerang set, the other piece that goes outside of here, if you quilt on the inside of it, you would get a 4.5 inch circle. So you could even set yourself up for 4.5 inch circles in each of these quadrants if you wanted to. But I love even using rulers as a guideline then for free motion work. So if you wanted to use this then as an avenue to be able to throw in some fun free motion, you have your boundaries already quilted in. Okay. And that way you know where to fill it. There you go. Alrighty, let's come out of here. And I think that kind of shows how to, oh, and I'm out of bobbin. So perfect timing. I'm out of bobbin too. Look at that. So there you go. That's how you can use your rulers on the panel. And I have all the suggestions on there, and I've written in what size I'm suggesting with different lines. And you could also even, down here, I have on the panel a suggestion of how to throw in some leaves. So by doing a leaf, you only need to do 1/4 of a circle. In fact, let's just draw it. This way you can see what I mean. Now I'm drawing right up against the ruler. Remember, you always will be quilting 1/4 of an inch away from the ruler edge. So my rulers do have tracing nibs, like little round discs with holes in them, so that way you can use markers, and that way it acts like you're 1/4 of an inch away from your ruler edge. So if I'm gonna do a leaf right in here, I'm gonna start and then only go up 1/4. So in fact, I'm gonna move it over so I'm not too far over here. So here's one line, and here's 1/4. So essentially, I'm going from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, stop with my needle down, pivot, and then put it back so that your 12 o'clock is going to take you back now to your 3 o'clock. Can you see it? I hope. There we go. So 1/4 of a circle, then you can throw in different leaves along your stem. Okay. Let me show you some of the boomerang digital, the embroidery designs that we stitched out. So same panel, okay, but all sorts of designs. Some are straight up circular, and I have the leaves on here to show you as well. but some I've included actually just made specific for this shape. So if you have the posy patch pattern, the double dip pattern, you can actually fit some of these in there. Okay, let's see here.
I think that that's so cool to point out too, Sarah, is that these kind of boxes are building on each other a little bit. So because
Yeah,
last quarter you did the double dip and now we have the quilt panel. So if you put together your double dip quilt
Brett.
project, then you now have the quilting and embroidery designs that will work amazing with
Yes,
it.
for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And that's my plan. So that said, just to give y'all a little bit of a heads up, if the Tutti Frutti cutting templates are in the quarter 2 box, and those lead to equilateral triangles and equilateral diamonds, then perhaps then quarter 3 will include some triangular designs for stitching out and quilting out. It's just a perchance per se type situation. But yeah, I want everything to be sort of a skill builder that builds on top of each other, that you can add to, take away, figure out different things. But also, I don't want to just get stuck in a rut of just circles or just 60-degree angles or just right angles. I want to, and I've been quilting over a decade now, but I'm still always trying to figure out how to do new things. And feathers, I love feathers, y'all. I can't, as you can see from the cover of the box, I love quilting feathers. So I'm always going to give you some sort of feather option that fits into the design motif that I'm looking at. So obviously this was an easy one. Being a flower petal, I wanted to do something just sort of like florally, petally, fun. And I'm incorporating also the 1-inch circle from the Lotus and Pebbles ruler that was in the quarter 1 box. Okay. And so again, if you didn't get the first quarter box, you can always get these items at a discount in your quarter 2 box. There's a code to get them at a discount. But you can always just go to So Steady and purchase them there, or email me and I'll handle the order for you. Either way, it doesn't matter. So here's one of the feather designs that works digitally on your long arm or in your embroidery machine. Here's another one. Woof, let me move this over. This one, the more I look at it, now I did blow it up. It was with the 1-inch pebble in the Lotus and Pebbles ruler with like these other little flower petal things, but I did enlarge it just a bit for this panel. It kind of makes me think of like a Pebbles and Bam Bam, like a Flintstones type necklace or jewelry or something. And so here's one of the fun things in the embroidery collection. Both of these designs, obviously you can stitch them out as a block, but they're also written to be edge to edge files. So this design, I'm going to show it to you. Oh, before I do, how's this block? You like that? With just a basic circle surrounding it. I think this one is so much fun, just using the rulers, the different circles going around and then having a little circle at the tops of them. And there's a few different variations of that as well. So let me show you. Here's 3 of those feathers done edge to edge. So can you see the, can you see those maybe? I hope. There we go. There's 3 of those others done feathers edge to edge. And my idea is, and I'm going to do this on a quilt, is one row I'm going to go this direction, and then the next row I'm going to flip them. And then that way these little hooks here will fit up inside when I flip it. So it's going to be sort of like seashells fitting together in a way, which it looks really cool. Here's another one of the stitch outs with smaller circles at the tops. So it's a bunch of circle designs and then itty bitty pebbles done up at the top. And then that other, the one the site I said looks sort of Pebbles and Bam Bammy jewelry. Here we go. This one looks so fun done edge to edge.
I love that one so much, Sarah.
Isn't it
And
just
yeah, I
fun?
mean, it looks adorable in the panel too, but yeah, as an edge to edge, it's super,
It's
super cute.
great, yeah. And so you could even set them up where
Mhm.
you just have, you could do 4 where they touch and make themselves sort of like their own little floral block, because as you saw, here's one stitch out here. So you could do 1 stitch out, stop, measure it, and have the other one coming this way, 1 stitch out, one stitch out and one stitch out. And then you've given yourself some empty space in the middle to either place one of these spiral motifs, like the spirograph type motif, or you have some empty space to do free motion work, which is a lot of fun.
I love it.
And then here are some of the leaves like I was talking about. So that's using 3/4. That's using a quarter of the arc and then coming back down on the circle. So it's a lot of fun. I hope everyone has fun playing around with it and trying out new things. I want to show you this too. I have one more edge to edge. Well, I guess two technically. These are also on the design file. I'm going to move the camera so that way you can see this. I made my first By Annie bag. And of course I chose the ultimate travel bag because that's what one does when they're By Annie. But it's so fun. So that's
I
one
love
of the,
it.
you could do it as an individual, but it is set up as an edge to edge design. So you can see how it's one big arc, one of like a half circle that has a bunch of bursting circles inside of it in the different sizes. And then here is another one of the designs. But again, you can do them with the rulers. But if you want to go quickly, you can also set them up in your long arm or your embroidery machine. And then hopefully you can kind of see this one. I have a patch covering a lot of it, but that's another one of the patterns right here, where it's a half circle with a teardrop in between each. So a clamshell, essentially. Clamshells with teardrops in between each of them.
I love. So perfect.
Isn't it fun?
Okay. It's so fun. As I did post a link to the Boomerang embroidery collection because you can purchase that separate. Yes, it's in the Creative Collection box. And just so you're clear, like the box, if you subscribe $99 a quarter, you can cancel it anytime.
Yes.
And the embroidery collection alone is $60. So I definitely think, when you're getting everything else, like it's so worth it
I know
to
that
take
fabric
advantage.
alone is like a good, what, $25
Yeah.
worth of fabric.
Oh
You've
yeah.
got the Tutti Frutti cutting templates that
Yeah.
are $50 normal
Yeah.
price. The
Yeah.
pre-printed panel, which those are easily $15-20 if you were to
Yes.
just sell them alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
The glitter grip, yeah, it's a phenomenal price, and I'm really glad that we can do this in that way. Everyone has a chance to just really get their hands on a bunch of things.
I
But bear in
agree.
mind, every box is going to kind of link into the next box. That doesn't mean you
Yeah.
have to have it. It just means you are going to get more out of it the more boxes you have, because everything
Yeah.
you'll start to think like I do. Y'all will have Sariditty brains here before too long.
I love it.
I
Well,
hope you're
Sarah,
cleaner than I am, because this is
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we should give something away. So we're going to give away the box, right? But we're not
yeah,
going to do that today
right.
because we're going to let people that couldn't join us live,
They can
feel
watch
like they can
it. Yeah, give
they'll
them
be part of it. We want to get them excited to win. So we're going to give it that a few more days. But I was thinking, we're showing off a whole bunch of cool things, but a couple of these things maybe they didn't get, especially if they didn't get the first box. So like, how about that spacer tool? I think that would be a perfect thing to give away, and maybe with
wood.
one of your necklaces.
Yeah, a notions necklace. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Where's yours?
Hanging in the real sewing room, like the office room on my pegboard. Because yeah, but I will say this. Let's say you already have the spacer tool and you win another one, or you're just like, I want another one. I have more than two, let's be real. But I have
Okay.
two with me at all times.
Yes.
Here's why. All of the templates. In fact, I'm going to turn off this light ring so that way y'all can see
The
it.
other thing I was thinking is we could give away one of those cute little glitter grippers, those brand new ones.
Oh, we could have
But
two.
so that goes in the box. But glitter grippers are so great to have,
I use them on everything, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, see how the etchings are white, right?
Yes.
On the
Yes.
ruler. And
Yes.
sometimes on white fabric, it's a little bit difficult to see the etchings,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I have two spacer tools going at all time. What I've done on one of these, and this is the one, can you see how they're pink markings?
Oh yeah.
So I grabbed a pink dry erase marker and I just colored on the side that has all the etchings, colored everything. and then
Yeah.
wiped off what was visible on the surface with some batting. But that way, the
Okay.
edge parts, the dry erase marker soaked into them. And, I've wiped as much of as I can off with batting, so nothing is ever going to leak onto my fabric. But this way now I have one with white etchings I can use on dark fabric, and then one
Oh,
with colored
perfect.
in markings that I can use on lighter fabric so I can see the
Brilliant.
better. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So I think then let's do our first one. So
Okay.
everybody is going to get well, not everybody. That would
Everybody
be
will have a
fair.
chance.
A chance. That would be very generous. So if you want to win one of those facing gauges so you can do some extra stuff to it, then go ahead and tell us what you think about this awesome box.
Yes.
All of Sarah Dizzy's amazing designs and of course the fabric and all the goodies. Your time to share what your favorite things are that she has in the box. And then we're going to pick a winner, but then don't forget, like, this is also your chance to make sure you sign up to enter to win the box itself
Yes.
as well. So
Yes.
if you decide that you're going to join the club because you just understand that this is a must have because you're just going to get so many great things and you're going to grow with Sarah and all of her amazing color picking and and tools, then we will go ahead and obviously credit you. And so I did post a link to that again. So now I'm going to start picking a winner for the spacer tool.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and let's take a look here. Giveaway. Let's see, there it is. And we are doing it. All right, so let me share my screen so everybody can see their names flash by, because that's kind of part of the fun, right? All right, so we have 32 entered right now.
Nice.
So keep commenting, guys, if you want to win because this is your chance. All right, and then if you have already entered, oh, here we go. We're
Oh,
picking a
that's
winner.
so fun. Oh, I
Isn't
see
that
some names
great?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recognize some names, huh?
All right.
Georgette. Yay.
Georgette won. Congratulations, Georgette. You are getting the amazing Space Engage. And that's a spacer tool by Sariditty with the necklace. So you're going to get both. So what do you think? Should we go ahead and do the cherry blossoms too as just a bonus?
I mean, it's the kickoff to summer, maybe.
I know. Look at that. They're
I love
adorable.
you.
They are adorable. I feel like we have to do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and pick our winner for the cherry blossoms. And so we've got 34 people in this. Let's see. All right. Here we go.
I see more names I know.
Who's going to win the cherry blossoms? We have Vivian.
Vivian,
Congratulations,
awesome.
Vivian. You get the cherry blossoms. And of course, if you guys get the box, you all get the cherry blossoms. I love that you shared with people how they can go ahead and take the backing off of those because they're what I do think that sometimes if you're not, a person with nails or patience,
Yeah.
that can get a little extra,
Yeah.
So
So I'll show it again. That way, in
some
case
simple
anybody missed
tips.
it. So on the glitter gripper, one side feels sort of like sand, like an emery board, and the other side is
Mhm.
really slick. The super slick side is the backing of the sticker that we don't want. So I put the sandy, gritty side up, and I take my finger to the tip of the petal, and I just sort of peel. And there we go. It just peels onto my skin. It flips up, and then that way I can peel that paper apart right like that.
There it goes.
Okay.
Voila. All right. You
Now I
know
need to
what?
get the color to put it on.
All of these are, can be a little bit exciting. I love those cherry blossoms though.
Aren't they
And I
fun?
think it's like you're adding like decoration. You're adding
Well,
decoration to your
it
rulers.
is. And I want everyone to know that this is not the only way to keep your ruler from slipping because it's not meant to be super sticky and super tacky. I wanted something that was different than everything else out there because there's the So Steady stable tape. Great. There's
Yeah.
like those Velcro-y type stickums. There's sort of like silicone dot stickums. There's people that,
Yes.
heck, sometimes in a pinch, if I'm teaching a class somewhere and I always travel with washi tape, I'll just take a
Mhm.
roll of washi tape and smush it onto the back if I don't have glitter grippers with me or enough palm petals to share with the
Oh,
student.
yeah. Oh,
But
good idea.
they're meant to use in addition to
Okay.
whatever else you want to use. So you can still use staple tape if you want. You can still use your palm paddle. You can still use machiners. You can still use
Yeah.
any of these things. It's meant to be an aid, not a end all be all.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize for the rough start, everyone.
Okay. I'm just glad it wasn't me.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't you this time, Sarah. It was our awful streaming option. So
Okay.
we're looking at new options
You're
to
good.
avoid those issues in the future. But we appreciate everybody hanging in there, first of
Yeah.
all. And
And lastly, I'm going to add this just in case if anybody is
yeah.
loving the aviation thing going on here. My
Hmm.
high flight fabric collection is ordering now. Like it will be done by the end of the month. So I have pre-cuts available in my personal shop that you can reserve for when the fabric comes out in November. Just letting you know because FYI, down the road, a Sariditty Creative Collection box might have some more high flight
Ooh.
fabric or patterns or projects. Just saying.
Yes, that could
Just saying.
happen.
You can jump on it to add to your stash.
That's fun. I love it. All right. Well, yeah, so if you are curious how to take advantage of the, getting more of that gorgeous fabric, Sarah Diddy, you're carried by Moda, correct?
Correct.
Can they contact you if they need to find out locations near them that might
If they
carry
want to
it or?
reserve a pre-cut bundle, they can go straight
Mhm.
to my shop and reserve it.
Okay.
If
Okay.
not, I would talk to your local quilt shop and just beg and plead that they have it ordered through Moda
Okay.
this month,
Perfect.
like in
Yeah.
the week and a half.
For the high flight.
Yes.
And a
And
lot of the samples that Sarah shared was that high flight fabric, so you'll see them in a
oh
lot
yeah,
of the pictures and everything. So
yeah.
just so you're aware, like a lot of the even the embroidery samples though that we in the
Yes.
pictures that we have on the
Yep.
website
Yep.
are that high, yeah,
Yep.
the high flight.
This
So
whole stack behind me is my sample yardage. So there you go.
I love it. Excellent. Well, thank you all again so much for joining us today. I did put a little banner up there. So if you
Yay.
are a winner, you know how to claim your prize. But we're going to be announcing the winner to the box here in the next week. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for that. We'll be sending an email out. And of
And your
course, we'll have
welcome
a
letter
post.
has a hashtag you can use when you get your box. I want to see you unboxing it. Post your videos, post your reels. I want to see you
Oh,
unboxing it.
yes.
You can
Please, please,
tag me. You
please.
can use the hashtag that's in your welcome letter. I want to see it. I've seen a few from the first quarter and people have been doing
Yeah.
unboxing. It's super fun.
So fun. Yes. So if you're a club member, please definitely, share your videos and know that your boxes are coming very shortly. We're
Yay!
packaging them up. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for more live education.
Yes. Bye.
Thanks.